Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back to my channel, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another episode of Fighting Fantasy Fun. And for those of you who are watching my videos to do with game books, you will know that today I am going to do Fighting Fantasy Roulette again. And for those of you who have never watched this before, what is Fighting Fantasy Roulette? Well, I'll tell you. So, when you play a game book, normally you play one book. You go to a paragraph, and at the end of that paragraph, there is you are directed to another paragraph, or you have a choice between different paragraphs, or there might be conditions saying that if you have this, then you go to that paragraph, etc. So in any case, you are on this paragraph, and you always, unless it's a paragraph where you die or win, you will always be directed to another paragraph, and then you go to that paragraph in the same book. In Fighting Fantasy Roulette, you then, instead of going to the same book, you go to a different book after you've made your choice of paragraph. So there are many ways you can do this. You need a set of books. You need more than one, basically. You can do it with two books. You can do it with two books and alternate. But a set of books and that you play in a certain order or randomly, if you like. And then you just go through the different books. And the aim of the game is to either win by getting to an end victory paragraph, like paragraph 400 usually, or you die, which normally it seems, when I'm playing this, seems to be that you stumble into an insta-death. So yeah. Right, so what I have been doing specifically is to start on book number 1, The Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and then I have gone on to number 2, Citadel of Chaos, etc., 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 and that's what I've been doing every time I've played this, to the point where I've actually exhausted quite a few possible paths, and a lot of the beginning is going to be the same and the same and the same over again, and that can, as you know, get a little bit boring. So I have decided to start doing my finger bookmark technique now. I'm going to backtrack. Last time I ended up on book number 28, where I died, and I'm going to backtrack to the previous book where I had a different choice I could make for where to go, so that hopefully that different paragraph doesn't lead to a death. And then I'll continue from there, because that way I will be more likely to get through all the books instead of just doing the beginning over and over again. It'll be more interesting for me, it'll be more interesting for you, and you'll see more of my books, etc. So I think that's the way I will do it. I decided at the end of my previous Fighting Fantasy Roulette episode, I'm going to do it this way now. In other news, somebody bought me a coffee for the first time last week, or the end of the week before, I can't remember which now, on buymeacoffee.com, and I don't really know who that person is, but I sort of have a vague recollection of having seen a comment or something or maybe it's just a subscription notice from someone with a similar username to the email address that was on the donation. I tried emailing the person to see what kind of videos they liked. Oh, something almost fell down there. To ask what kind of videos they liked, if they wanted me to give them a shout out, etc. I haven't got a response yet, so I don't know whether Fighting Fantasy videos is what that person watches, but in any case, I'll just a general thank you for anyone who, of course, then takes the effort or opens their purse to support my channel. So this video is in a way dedicated to whoever it was that bought me a cup of coffee, I guess. Yeah, thank you very much if you are watching. So. In other news, by the way, of course, if you have been watching my channel, you know that I have literally played hundreds of hours of Fighting Fantasy game books over the last year and a half. Literally hundreds of hours. I've spent even longer doing, of course, when I haven't been making videos, I also, to start with, at the beginning of my series, I also did analyses, which means I mapped out in their entirety all the first books. I analyzed them. I've done so many things to do with sort of figuring out how the structure of it works, etc., etc. And this weekend it actually paid off, in a sense. I'm not talking about the cup of coffee now. On fightingfantasy.net, there is a hosted a book called The Trial of Alibor. I think is hosted several places as well as an online playable game book. And there was a challenge, a bounty was issued to beat the game without having cheat mode activated. Of course, in cheat mode in online game books or app game books, you can play like you do a normal book. You can put your finger bookmarks and go back, etc., etc. So it had to be beat fairly in the online version, and apparently this had been going on for a little while with a bounty of £50, which is quite good, I think. I hadn't heard about it, but this weekend the bounty was upped to £100, and then I did hear about it, and so that was my yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, all morning into the mid-afternoon, I spent trying to beat this 507 paragraph dungeon crawl called The Trial of Alibor, which is a really well-written book, by the way. Excuse me, I just have to have a sip of tea now. So, because I've got I suppose, all the experience I have from playing these books now, I'm quite good at sort of sussing out the correct path, mapping quickly as well. I mean, I don't do it super quickly when I play in my videos because I have to read everything out and everything like that. But I can read really fast, and I can sort of read really fast and be sure not to skip something, and I can click really fast on the screen, and I can map really fast as well. So I can do all these things quite quickly. I don't know how many playthroughs I actually had to do before I won it, but I did win it, and I won the bounty. So yeah, it paid off. So all thanks to you guys for watching, because if people had not been watching these videos and giving me positive feedback, I actually wouldn't have been in the position where I would have been able to do something like that in a few hours on a Sunday morning. I probably wouldn't even have known about it because I wouldn't have been into game books enough to even be in the groups on Facebook where this would have been announced. So yeah, so thanks to excuse me. So thanks to all of you who are watching. Actually, I managed to win that bounty. So yeah, thank you very much. Right, so. I think we should get started before I spend too much time talking now. So yeah, another sip of tea. And I think I'm going to go back 2 books just for continuity as we play this. So last time I finished on book number 28. That's when I died. So this time I'm going to start on book number 26. That is Crypt of the... I'm going to call it Crypt of the Necromancer because that is the title that should have been. That's definitely not the sorcerer, it's a necromancer. So yeah, Crypt of the Necromancer, book number 26. Let's get started. Okay, here we are on my desk and ready to go. Remember last time, by the way, I noticed I was talking about how I was trying something new with my microphone, but I don't know if you noticed that I got a lot of creaking noises last time, and it is coming from my desk. Because I expanded my desk last year. I made it twice as large. Still doesn't feel too big. And I expanded it by putting a big plate of cheap quality plywood, which is what I had from a pallet, on top of my IKEA desk. But the problem was the way I attached it, it had a little bit of sort of a curvature. So there's a curve, and right in the middle where I sit, there was a little bit of a gap as well between the actual desk and the new plywood on top of it. And so every time I push down on that, it would make a creaking noise. So I've tried to attach it more firmly now, which is a bit tricky because of the rubbish quality of the plywood and the rubbish quality of the table itself, which is hollow. I think I may have been able to do it. So if there should technically be fewer loud noises and no creaky noises this time, but yeah, we'll see. Right, let's get started. So, book number 26, and I am supposed to go to 297, I think, in this for being lucky in my previous paragraph. Hang on. Is that right? Yes, that is right. So I'm going to start here from my Crypt of the Necromancer, which is a book that looks like it has never been read. Let's check out the character sheet now. Oh, actually, it has been. Somebody has been reading it really neatly because the character sheet has been used, and it just looks like it hasn't been. So somebody is reading books like I do, except I wouldn't use the character sheet. Right. After 30 meters, the tunnel opens out into another chamber. The floor is littered with skulls, each one looking as if it had been smashed by a blunt instrument. At one end of the chamber, there is a heavy iron door, which is firmly bolted shut. As you approach, am I getting glare? I'm getting glare. Okay, I'm going to... Just trying something now, sorry. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so as you approach, you hear a dull thumping on the door. At the other end of the chamber, you see an archway which has a surround sculpted with demons and serpents. If you wish to unbolt the door, turn to 115. If you would rather walk through the archway and into the tunnel beyond it, turn to 264. So, last time I chose 115. And that inevitably led me to die in the book after. So this time I have to make a different choice. I have to choose, I'm just going to put a red circle around that. I have to choose 264, and then something else will happen. Okay. So, oops. That's the problem with the plastic covers. They sort of stick together, and so that can happen quite easily. I think they're okay. Let's see. So I'll just leave them out here. Right. So the next book is Soreide, book number 27. Let's go to paragraph 264. See what happens. There's a plane passing, as you can hear. You are unwise to run. Before you have taken your second step, it blasts you between the shoulders. It is an android whose cover has been blown and which is therefore very dangerous. You will recover, but not in time to complete your mission. Deduct all your remaining time units. And that is actually an insta-death as well, which means that, interestingly, of course, both paths from Crypt of the Sorcerer actually lead to failure. So that means I have to go back even further. So, in book number 25, there was a test of luck. Of course, if you fail that test, then you might actually be okay. But let's presume that you will not fail it. The book before, there's only one option. The book before that, there is a choice. So I'm going to have to go back to book number 23, Masks of Mayhem. Let's see. Well, actually, I will have to go back to the book before so I can just make sure that that is the right choice. Okay, so book number 22, Robot Commando, of course, which I just finished. And then I'm going to, and that was on paragraph 104. So I'm going to go to 104 here. Looking at a hospital map, you see that the research lab is not far away. I remember this from, yeah. It's where you make your blue potion to wake everyone up. Carrying the book with you, you set off to find it and soon arrive at a large chemical laboratory. As you walked, You heard strange squeaks and shuffling noises in the hallway, but saw nothing. You are somewhat disturbed to note that there are no sleeping doctors or researchers here. No one is here at all. And that's because the shuffling noises, they're the test lizards, the lab animals that have escaped and eaten everyone. You bar the lab doors for safety and set to work. Fortunately, the instructions are clear and the lab is well stocked. Eventually, you have a 1-liter flask of blue potion, all you can make with the materials at hand. Indeed, from the rarity of the materials you used, you doubt that another liter could be made in the whole of Thalos. But you also know from the book that 1 liter would be enough for everyone in Thalos. Nevertheless, there is a problem. The potion is so volatile that once opened, it will quickly evaporate. You cannot awaken people one at a time. You must find a way to treat your whole nation at once. So your quest is not over. And of course, the solution is you have to make sure it goes into a storm, which also, when you think about it, would not work at all if it's volatile. I mean, it would just disappear really quickly. Outside, you hear the strange squeaking once again. If you leave immediately, turn to 394. If you remain in the laboratory, checking your work one last time, which you should do if you're doing this book, turn to 372. Now, so last time I went to 372. This time I will have to go to 394. Because that is the only way I can change the outcome here and see if I will prevent myself from dying. Okay, so that is that. So 394 in the Masks of Mayhem, and probably the greyest cover of any game book ever. And I go to 394. As you walk along, you notice that there are many evenly spaced shafts drilled through to the ground above. These afford light and air, but are out of reach and just as unclimbable as the one you fell down. You conclude that the mine was once worked by slaves who needed to breathe and see. It does help, doesn't it? I mean, even a slave can't work if they can't breathe and see, surely. But also had to be prevented from escaping. It turns out that this was a copper mine. The vein is worked out, but you find a nugget of greenish ore which you keep. You soon come to what is obviously the main shaft. But any hopes of escaping are quickly dashed when you see that the ladder has rotted away and the entrance is too wide to chimney up. You sit down and complain to yourself for a while, but then determine to find some other way out. Will you now continue west or east? And now we have two other options for book number 24. So we have here 355 or 388. I'm going to go east, go to 388 in the next book. So that is the interesting Steve Jackson book, Creature of Havoc, which I've heard lots of good things about, and also I've heard it is quite hard. I'm looking forward to this one. I always keep saying that I'm looking forward to this one. It's becoming a bit of a cliche, but it's true. I'm looking forward to all of them, including Skylord. I've heard so many bad things about Skylord, but I'm really looking forward to seeing, first of all, what is bad about it, and secondly, maybe it's not so bad after all. It just depends. You never know. It might be rubbish though, but yeah, we'll see. I'm keeping an open mind. 388. So okay. The going becomes a little steeper, and the river splashes faster over its rocky bed. Ahead, you can see that it seems to disappear over a ledge, and when you get closer, you see that the river plunges over a tall waterfall and crashes into a natural pond far below. Before continuing along a narrower stream through a gully carved in the rock, the effect is quite spectacular. But it presents a problem to you. How do you get down? Following the path along the riverbank is impossible. You will have to continue through the undergrowth. Turn to 57. No choice. So, 57. So 388 and 57. So I'm going to book number. Just make sure these don't fall as well. 25, which is Beneath Nightmare Castle, and I'm going to go to paragraph 57. The coin plops into the green liquid and disappears beneath the surface. Nothing happens. Feeling rather foolish, you make a wish. Still, nothing happens. If you want to put your hand into the liquid to try to retrieve your gold piece, turn to 168. If you want to drink some of the liquid, turn to 380. Alternatively, you can investigate the overgrown path beyond the statue, 232, and continue along the perimeter path, turn to 11. So lots of options there. So we have 11, 1, 6, 8, 2, 3, 2, or 3, 8, 0. So that is good news, because that means if I need to backtrack again, there are 4 paths leading from book number 26. So that gives me lots of options. I'm going to go with the perimeter path and paragraph 11. Then we are back to Crypt of the Necromancer. And I'm going to go to paragraph 11. As you plunge down towards the ground, a human materializes beside you, golden and glowing. The Suma simply smiles and says, "I will save you now, but I cannot help you again." It then disappears, and much to your surprise, the red dragon returns and flies underneath you, allowing you to drop onto its back. The 3 of you scramble up onto its neck and fly northwest, the dragon riders of Alancia. Some time later, after Moonstone Hills come into view, the red dragon glides down to land. As soon as you have dismounted, the dragon flies off, leaving you unharmed. You realize that it is only an hour before sunset, and so you look around for somewhere to sleep, to be well rested, to meet your ultimate adversary. If you wish to sleep among the nearby trees, turn to 257. If you wish to walk to the edge of the hills to sleep, turn to 28. Well, this is just before the end game, it looks like. Right, so we are looking for 28 or 257. So, and I am going to go with 257. Yeah, I'm going to go 257. The android sets off at a fast pace and leads you to a small building with 2 grompoles standing at the gate. It tells you that there is a ComTerm inside that can tap into security information, but that it is vacuum protected and can be accessed only by androids. The android will go in, but you will have to keep guard. It unwraps its parcel and hands you a blaster. Then it pulls out its own stun gun and rushes into the building. You follow and destroy the first guard with 1 shot, while the android punches a hole in the second guard's middle. You take up a defensive position and wait. And that's quite action-packed, doesn't it? I mean, it's so action-packed that there's battle without any rolls being made. Turn to 369, so no choice. 369. That is book number 28. Let's see, where are we now? That is Phantoms of Fear, where I have actually finished my game before as well. I've been on 2 different insta-deaths in Phantoms of Fear in the course of playing Fighting Fantasy Roulette. Let's see what happens on 369. You rush at the second pygmy orc. He only has time to draw his sword to defend himself. And let's see. So we have skill 12, stamina 21, although some of it is from a battle that was probably after the place I restarted. 6, 5. I don't know. I'm not sure if I even want to bother rolling for that because it's, yeah, I'll go to 6. He rolls a 7, so I beat him the first round. He rolls a 5, I beat him the second round. He rolls a 3, so he's dead. Actually, I didn't even have to roll my own attacks. If you win, hear the sound of a patrol returning along the tunnel. Perhaps the commotion of your fight reached their ears. You expect that the death of a couple of pygmy orcs will not attract too much attention. This sort of thing must be an everyday occurrence in a hellhole like this. You dash out of the tunnel and back into the bone cave. You still reckon that the northeastern tunnel is not safe, so you must quickly choose between the northern tunnel or the western one. So that means that we have now 281 or 333. I like 333. It's a nice looking number. I'm going to go with 333, and that is in book number 29, which is Midnight Rogue. And this book is very unusual in that the hero is actually depicted on the cover. Presumably, that is the hero, yeah, or the protagonist, I should say. Is it a hero? Because, I mean, he's a thief and stuff. Is that heroic? Does he actually do heroic things in a Midnight Rogue? Or is he just being a rogue? I don't know. In any case, 333, and let's see what happens. You try to push past the men and head for the door of the tavern. Roll 2 dice. If the result is less than or equal to your skill, which it will be because my skill is 12, turn to 9. So it's test skill 9 or 2, 5, 8. So which, oh, that may have made a sound on the microphone there. I could feel there was some vibration going on there. Chasms of Malice, or as I said when I was little, of course, chasms of malice, because I didn't know that chasm was pronounced chasm until later. Right, so number 9. You rush to hide behind some rocks. You see the rider stopping by the cart. Suddenly you hear a flapping of wings and look up to see 2 large fanged bats sweeping down. You swing your sword in the air. Test your luck, and my luck is down to 8, and I roll 8, so my luck goes down to 7. If you're lucky, you have hit one of them and the other takes a bite of your neck. Deduct 1 stamina point. I'm down to 20. I do have rations, by the way, in this one. If you're unlucky, okay. The riders head down to where you're hiding. You run away straight into a thick mist. Turn to 92. So again, no choice really. As we go to book number 31, which is Battle Blade Warrior. I think I'll just save these books now because it looks a bit precarious. Okay, so I'm going to do like so. There we go. Okay. So Battle Blade Warrior and paragraph number 92. The sudden light is blinding, but the enormous Black Panther recovers first. The wicked claws slash at you. Deduct 2 stamina points, so I'm down to 18. And the Black Panther 10-10, actually. That's quite a fierce monster to fight. So he's got, so that's 10. So I am 12-18. Versus 10-10. Let's roll that out. So I've got a 2 skill point advantage. He rolls 7, I roll 5. That's a draw. He rolls 2, and that's me hitting him. He rolls 6, I roll 9. He rolls 6, I roll 8. He rolls 7, I roll 7. And he rolls 4, and I roll 10, and he is therefore dead. So If you defeat the savage creature, turn to 44. So again, no option actually. So I'm on a sort of a single track path there at the moment. That was 31. Next one is 32. Slaves of the Abyss. Interesting and unusual cover there. Don't know anything about this one at all, actually. It looks, I mean, you look at this picture and it looks very sci-fi anyway. 44. Tired thou you are, you cannot sleep. You remember Siege, yeah, I don't know how that's Sige's promise that the pomander would prevent you sleeping. But surely this has become more a hindrance than a help. Your body cries out for true rest, squirming in tortured agony at lack of sleep. If you decide to remove the pomander in the hope that this will help you sleep, turn to 382. If not, turn to 278. So 382 or 278. Finally, a choice. I'm going to go to 278 in my next one, which is, yes, the much maligned Skylord. 278. All the square-shaped tiles change color. Orange to green, green to blue, blue to orange. Looks like there's a puzzle going on here. Will you step on tile B2 or tile C3? Now, this is the kind of puzzle that might feel... It looks to me like the kind of puzzle that sort of feels a bit out of place in a fighting fantasy book. So that actually already on this paragraph, this reminds me of... oh, what's it called again now? Space Assassin, yeah, which I thought was a bit rubbish. But I may be wrong. Others may be right. Maybe Skylord is rubbish, but anyway, options are just double check I'm on the right number now. So this is 33, isn't it? Yeah, this one doesn't have a number on it. So I've got 3270129. I'm going to go with 129. Yep. In Stealer of Souls, and this is a really nice cover, I must say. 129. Nice interior art as well. I like this one. I like this one already. You press on south, ignoring a turning to the east, which only leads to the Goblin's room. Turn to 268. No choice. 268. So we are now, I'll just put up some more numbers here, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, etc., etc., etc. So, Daggers of Darkness also doesn't have a number on it, actually, interestingly, and 268. This picture is a bit weird though. If you look at it, see the lighting is completely different on the character here than on everything else. So it's really weird because it is a painting, but it looks like it's been photoshopped. Go figure. Poorly photoshopped even. 268. You head westwards. You get close to the figure, but still it does not move. You even poke it with your sword, but it seems to be made of rock. Shrugging, you pass by. Then your ears are assaulted by a strange wailing noise which gets louder and louder until it begins to numb your mind. You pound at the figure with the flat of your sword, and that seems to have some effect in lessening the racket. Fight the screecher as in normal combat. So, next paragraph is 64. No choice, but I have to beat this 7, 8 first. So 7, 8. So I got a 5 skill point advantage. 9 versus 9. 6. 10. 7. 5. That is an automatic hit. And I go to 64 in the next book, which is The Armies of Death, which I believe is the sequel to Trial of Champions. at the end of it, there is a hint of a sequel. It says that with all this money, you can go and buy your own army. So why would you? But, well, you would, and you do, and this is where you end up. So, right. 64. The guards call out for you to stop, but you run on as fast as you can, keeping an eye out for a tavern into which to dash. Turn to 52. Again, no choice. Let's see, I'm into 268 there. I've forgotten to make a note of some of these numbers. Okay. Right. Portal of Evil comes up next. And we are going to paragraph 52. Gloaton shakes his head. In the right hands, these lengths of wood are no gentler than swords, he says. However, I agree we must not produce a winner who is too wounded to be our champion. We will cancel the combat. The crowd hisses its disapproval. Silence, roars Gloaton. I have an alternative. To the moat! The other contestants are Ostbar of the Margrave's bodyguard, Einbol, a dwarf minder, and Trella, a wood elf. The crowd follows you. Gloaton and the other contestants to the moat, overshadowed by the castle and the town wall. A narrow footbridge arcs from the street to the ramparts. Tie their ankles again, orders Gloaton, and dangle them on ropes upside down, 2 on each side of the bridge, all within sword's reach of each other. Now, when I give the word, draw your swords, and each try to cut the others down. This will be a real test of swordsmanship. The one who stays dry will be our champion. Draw swords. You find yourself hanging upside down above the green water of the moat. On the same side of the bridge is Einbol, and you decide to try to cut his rope first. Einbol has 7 points of skill. Roll dice as for combat. The contestant with a higher attack strength succeeds in cutting the rope of the other. So I've got 5-point advantage. He rolls 7, I roll 11, so I cut his rope. Who falls into the slimy water below and is pulled out by jeering townsfolk. If you are the unfortunate loser, you find Gloaton waiting at the side of the moat. If you win, turn to 197. So 197. In the Vault of the Vampire, which looks really cool, actually. I'm gonna say it again. I'm really looking forward to playing this one. 197. Yeah, I don't drink wine. Let's see. I drink tea. Okay. You run away into the forest. In your haste, you drop some supplies, so deduct 2 from your provisions, which are now down to 8. Roll 2 dice and add 3 to the total if the result is less than or equal to your skill. Okay. Yep. You manage to evade your pursuers and eventually you arrive at a hut by the riverside. Turn to 13. So I'm going to 13. The next things only happen if you fail your skill roll there. So that leads us to number 39, Fangs of Fury. And paragraph 13. You run into the darkness. The giant calls out to you. No, you play game. Come back. He stomps after you, picks up a handful of stones and throws them at you. Throw a die. This is the number of stones that hit you. 2. Deduct the number from your stamina. You race along until you reach the end of the cave. You feel around for a bolt hole as a giant lumbers towards you. You find a wooden trapdoor in the floor. You pull on it and it opens easily. You jump in and shut it behind you. The giant is too big to follow, but you can hear him shouting, "The little ones will get you." As you wonder about this threat, you turn around and then you see exactly what he means. A large group of gremlins, all looking murderous, are emerging from the walls, ceiling, and floor into a corridor leading to the large wooden door. You have no choice but to run through them. They stab at you with their daggers. Draw 3 dice. I'm going to do 2 first and then 1. So that's 12 plus 4. Let's see. So that is 16. Hang on. This is the number of stabs aimed at you. Throw 3 dice again for the number you managed to ward off. Okay. So 8 plus 1, 9. So that is 7. 7 is the difference between those two. So if the stabbings are greater, then reduce your stamina by the difference multiplied by 2. So that is 14. So I've got 2 stamina points left. If you manage to reach the door, it opens easily and you rush through and bolt it behind you. Turn to 279. Now, it does say bolt it behind you, which means that this is where I can stop to eat provisions. So I'm going to 279, but first I'm going to eat myself up to, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll just do 5 and go back to 22. So I've got 3 provisions, rations left, and yeah. Almost died there. That would have been a disaster. 279 in book number 40 is next up. Let's see, and of course now, because of the way I've organized my books, I'll have to look for those. Oh no, hang on. I don't, because they are right here. They are the second. I'll just have to move these over here. Finished with those. Book number 40 is, there we are, Dead of Night. And paragraph 279. Let's find out what happens. You have passed through the correct door. See, there you go. Yeah. Now choose which door you go through next. Will you open the circle, the heptagon, the hexagon, the pentagon, the square, or the triangle? That's a lot of geometry. Okay, so which means that we got 2, 4, 2, 79, 18, 37, 56, or 3, 2, 7. I'm going to go with 18, the hexagon door. And as we go to book number 41, which is a Master of Chaos. Looks a bit dark here, does it? I do like that. Okay. Master of Chaos. Yep. And paragraph 18. You return to the house, but there is no one inside it. However, in the sand outside there do appear to be footprints which are definitely not your own. Roll 2 dice. If you have the tracking skill, you must subtract 2 from the number rolled, but if you do not have this skill, you must add 2 to the number rolled. If the new total is less than or equal to your skill, you may follow the trail to another house. So, skill minus 2. Yeah. So I'm 10. So that is the same as my skill minus 2. So I actually managed to do that. Okay. So I'm going to 30 in that case in the next book, which is The Black Vein Prophecy. Don't know anything about that one either. And I'm going to paragraph 30. At the top of the stairs, you are confronted by yet another seal. You scramble through the opening and find yourself in a low-ceiling corridor which snakes off ahead of you. On the floor beside you, neatly laid out, are a greatsword and a haversack. If you wish to take either or both of these, you should add them to your equipment list. The haversack contains fresh food equivalent to 5 provisions, so I'm actually back up to 8. You continue along the passage, passing through another 3 seals. You notice that the pressure builds as you advance, then drops again when you pass each seal. The corridors tremble spasmodically the further you progress, and by the time you approach the 7th seal, loose pebbles are raining down upon you. Breaking into a run, you make a dash for the sunlight which streams through the seal ahead of you. Roll 1 die, note down the result, and turn to 107. I'm not going to roll the die because I don't see the point. So 107 in book number 43, The Keep of the Lich Lord, which has a very nice picture on the front, but that font actually looks out of place. Yeah, it doesn't go. She smiles sadly. I had thought you a warrior of greater mettle. Still, I will pray you succeed in your mission. She turns and leaves. The next day dawns and you go downstairs. The same crowd are there, packing and readying themselves for the day's journey. The innkeeper says that the person in black left at dawn. You notice that one of the farmers is missing. The other two look downcast and frightened. You decide to get on with your journey. Will you head northeast towards Port Borgos, 46, or south towards Shamdabag Wood? Shamdabag. Turn to 325. Okay, so 46 or 325. I'm going to go to 46 in the next book, which is Legend of the Shadow Warriors. I have heard this is some people's favorite. It does not take long. Oh, different font in this one. Oh, did I change the font for the books? Oh, that's a different one again. Okay. It does not take long for the eager foot soldier to reach you. Much as you dislike doing it, you will have to kill him before reinforcements arrive. So that is... I went with 46. I keep forgetting to make a note of these things now, but oh, never mind. 8-8. So I'm fighting an 8-8. I've got 12-22. Got a 4 skill point advantage. He rolls a 4. That's a hit on him. 6. He rolls a 3. He rolls a 10. I rolled an 8. Hang on. Yeah, that's... Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if I rolled one too many there. Okay, so if you defeat the guard in 5 or fewer rounds, yeah, you escape and may either rush out of the alley and up the street or down into the sewers. If the guard is still alive, no, it's not. So it's 360 or 375. I'm going to go to 360 in Spectral Stalkers. Quite a different art style on this one, on the front. 360. Simeon stares long and hard at the collection of objects on the table and then shakes his head. It is no use, he says. I can read nothing from these few signs. They are like a jumbled sentence with the most important words missing. I am sorry, but I need more signs. You have nothing else to offer, so instead you ask Simeon if he can give you any information about Globus. Turn to 308. 308 in Tower of Destruction. Also a slightly dodgy font there. Actually, that is very dodgy because if you look at that, you see that the width of the letters is not balanced with the lines width is not balanced with the thickness of the height. So it looks like the font has been stretched a little bit. So instead of looking like a balanced font that's been designed like that, it looks like somebody has taken something that should have been a little bit narrower and stretched it. It may be designed like that, but it doesn't really look like it. And that is absolutely horrible design. Right, 308. In the morning, you must eat a meal. Oh, the writing is smaller in this one. Then you go outside to stretch your legs, and the first thing that catches your eye is a winged shape in the sky just to the south. It looks sizable, and if it's a white dragon, then it's a formidable beast indeed. You decide to wait for an hour and then look again, but when you venture outside once more, the creature is still there, circling in the sky. What are you going to do? You can set off outside and head north, or stay inside the cave. 212 or 387. 387 in book number 47. I'm going to go to 212, I think. Yeah, 212. on the Crimson Tide, and again somebody's playing around with stretching the fonts. Maybe it's the same person that did this one, I'm not sure, but whatever the case is, that looks better, but still it's a bit dodgy. Okay. It looks like somebody finally figured out how to do this digitally, but they didn't know how to do it properly anymore. Okay. 212. The dancing lights merge into one. They form a giant white image of your enemy's demon mask, its soulless eyes staring blankly at you, its features twisted with hatred. You shriek and run from the chamber. Behind you, Meng calls, "You're out of your mind!" But you ignore him. You race along the tunnel for many minutes before remembering that it was only a few meters long. You stop and try to pull yourself together before proceeding. You race along the tunnel for many minutes before remembering that it was only a few meters long. Something weird is going on there. 276. In book number 48. Right, now I have to locate book number 48. Because I was not prepared for this. Really. So let's move this out of the way. Maybe I'll just move these out of the way as well. Now, because I don't have much space, I've had to double shelf these, as you can see. Just move that over here. Okay. So, what am I looking for is book number 48. Yeah, so it's these ones here. I'm just going to get these ones out. So book number 48, which is Moon Runner. And this guy who looks a bit like a sort of a cross between a Medusa and maybe a New Zealand rugby player. I'm not sure. Anyway, 276. Oh, and this feels like it has hardly been opened. No, this one has not been played at all. 276. And much there is to learn, smiles the Imperator. Now you must leave. The rest of this meeting is not for the ears of an adept. For Rossi Calcians escort you up to the wharf, then go back inside the tavern. You turn to leave when a Jai Hulud sorcerer assassin drops to the ground in front of you. The Jai Hulud's incredible acrobatic prowess is enhanced by his magical abilities. If you have the acrobatics special skill, fight your foe as normal. Otherwise, roll 3 dice for your opponent each attack round and use the 2 highest numbers rolled to find his attack strength. The Jai Hulud laughs aloud, draws his twin swords, then leaps to the attack. I'm just going to pretend I have the acrobatics skill there because of the way I'm playing it now. That is plausible. So 9, 8, 9, 8. So I've got a 3 skill point advantage. He rolls 10. So I'm down to 20. 6, 8 is down to 6. 3, yeah, is down to 4. 8, 5 is a draw. 9, 8 is down to 2. 8, 7, he is dead. If you win, turn to 54. Which is Siege of Sardath. And a better font on this one. Moonrunner also, even though it looks like it is done by the same person, doesn't look as bad. This one has been stretched a little bit as well. Yes, it's been stretched upwards a little bit. Terrible design. Right. I don't know. I don't understand. What don't they teach people this when they? I mean, most people who do design, surely they would have some kind of design education. One would hope. And it's such a basic thing that you absolutely never, ever, ever stretch type in any direction, because it is perfectly balanced for the ratio it is. So if you want a different width or height, you need to find a different font or another variety of the same font. It's really, really basic. Anyway, I know that, and I haven't even gone to design school. It looks absolutely awful, and yeah. Oh well. Anyway. Is no matter, he says, clutching the bundle to his chest. He mutters something else in his own language, then turns away. He doesn't seem to expect a reply, so you just stand there for a moment, watching him walk back along the street. When he disappears around a corner, you turn back the way you were going and walk on down the main road. Turn to 354. So again, no choice. Hasn't been any choice for a few books now. Now we get to Return to Firetop Mountain, and this is the book that started it all again for me. That's the one I bought when it just occurred to me one day that, oh, maybe I want to try fighting fantasy again, see if it appeals to me. And then I bought two books. I bought Return to Firetop Mountain, and I bought The Warlock of Firetop Mountain, so that I could play Warlock of Firetop Mountain again, but I also wanted something new, and I thought, well, it's got references to it, doesn't it? So why not? And I really enjoyed it, so that's why I'm making this video now, which is my fighting fantasy video number 119, maybe. I'm not 100% sure now. I think it's 119, so I've done, yeah, and the hundreds of hours of playing. 354. And this book is one of the ones I have in the poorest condition as well. I got it really cheaply. The small stone island on which you are standing starts to crumble away and grow smaller. You must act quickly. You will have time to try only one item. If you have any of the following objects, will you drop an onyx egg down the chasm, drop a glass marble down the chasm, tap the floor with a skull staff? If you do not have any of the articles named above, which would be quite an achievement, I suppose, since I didn't read the earlier part of the book, I'll have to go to 46. So again, no choice really, as we go to the Island of the Undead. And also again, the type has been stretched. Tut. Okay, so there we are, 46. You turn and run while the mannequin continues to expand in size until it measures some 2 meters in height. You slam the door just as one of its fists punches you in the back. Deduct 2 points from your stamina. So I'm actually down to 18. It batters at the door as you close it, and you need something to wedge the door shut. You can use a wooden pole to do this, or you can wedge a stone axe under the door. You must have the item you wish to use, of course, and you must leave it behind. If you're able to wedge the door shut, no, I'm not. If you have neither of these items, the mannequin will break through the door and you must fight it. Turn to 268. So again, no choice really. 268 for the blackest cover of any, the darkest cover, and that is Night Dragon. Very nice, sort of this purple sheen here. 268. Add 2 to your time track. So there's been a few books now that where there's been a mention of a time track, which I suppose it means the system evolves a little bit. People find ways to do different things with game books as this series evolves, which is very interesting to me as well. 2 to your time track for time spent in the village. If you have not yet been to the Dragon Conclave, you must do so now. March off northeastwards in 2023. So I have to go to 23, it says. So I'm going to 23. Again, no choice really. Options, but no choice. 23. Spellbreaker, also the wrong font, but at least it's not skewed like the other ones. So there was a transition there when he went from the hand made ones to the digital ones. Night Dragon is actually, that's a correct font choice for the book. That's the best one of this sort of bit here. 23. You urge your horse forward into the dense woodland, eager to catch your quarry. Test your luck, which is now 7. I roll 2. I am lucky. I go to book 54 and I go to 208. So I need to find more books. Where are we? These are in order, aren't they? Yep. So 54, that is Legend of Zagor, which I've only got in the Wizard edition, of course, the Wizard Icon edition, because I don't collect the books. I have the books to play them. So when I was buying my books, I wasn't hunting for the green spines or anything. I just went with whatever was available and the cheapest usually. Legend of Zagor available, of course, in the Icon. So 208. And the paper is so much whiter. The side passage leads into a cavern which has a very faint glow coming from its crystalline walls and ceiling. Sharp, angular stalactites hang like chandeliers in the warm air. Excuse me. There is a distinctive aura of magic about this place, and as you creep cautiously forward, a blue triangle of glowing energy appears in mid-air, blocking the entrance. If you are Salazar, you can use one magic point to dispel this trap, if you so choose. Otherwise, it needs no special magical ability to realize this must be a trap that has been activated by your approach. If you decide to walk through it and suffer its effects, turn to 40. If you don't want to take this risk, you can either make for the cavern further along, if you haven't already entered it, or return to the main cavern where you entered, turn to 186. So I'm going to 40, 10, or 186. So 40, 10, or 186 in book 55, which is Deathmore. Quite a short book, not that wordy, allegedly not that good, but very expensive because it's scarce. I'm going to go to paragraph 10, I think. You step out along the cobbled street until you catch up with the ghastly hag. Here, you say, I'll buy some of your heather. How much is it? You find her price of 1 gold piece outrageous, but she insists that the heather is really lucky. Will you pay her price? 83 or not? 388. So 83, 388. I'm going to go to 388 in book 56, which is Knights of Doom, where you have this strange creature riding something that looks like his big brother, and who's got an octopus in his mouth. Yes. 388. Your attempts to break open the doors are entirely futile and only serve to summon Karskal's guards. Trapped in the antechamber, you finally succumb to their onslaught. You were so close to the completion of your quest, but at the last stage, you have failed. And so ends our adventure. The end. So I managed to get quite a bit further today. So that means next time I play this, I'm going to start from paragraph 83 in book number 56, Knights of Doom, and continue from there. And when I get to the end, to the book, if I do get to the end, I will continue, go back to book number 1. Right. So there you have it. ending on Knights of Doom. So now I've been through almost all the books as well, which is great. Yeah. Okay. So there we have it. That is the end of Fighting Fantasy Roulette again. And I think it's more fun now to actually continue, just to backtrack and continue, instead of going back to the first one all the time. But of course, now I will get back to book number 1, but I will not get back to paragraph 1. I will get back to a completely different paragraph, and my journey through the books 1 through 28 that I have done before will be a completely different one to what I've done before, which will be nice. So I think that concludes my video for today. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for the guy who bought me coffee. Thanks to everyone for supporting my channel just by watching videos and commenting. Of course, lots of people are leaving nice comments, which is great. And next time I am playing book number 23, which is I've forgotten now. Is that Creature of Havoc? Masks of Mayhem. It's Masks of Mayhem, isn't it? Not Creature of Havoc. It is Masks of Mayhem, I think. So, oh. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's all for today, really. So I'll just say goodbye. And thank you for watching again. And I'll see you next time. Looking forward to it. Goodbye for now. Bye bye.